Abundance, abundance, abundance. This was Bill Cosby before the Cosby Show, before they got to him. But this is how Bill Cosby started out.
You tell me and prove to me that black people are violent and that they're going to take over, and I can open up the New York Daily News and show you white people who are killing their daughters, their husbands, their wives, their children, killing each other off. Well, if you tell me and prove to me that black people are violent and that they're going to take over, and I can open up the New York Daily News and show you white people who are killing their daughters, their husbands, their wives, their children, killing each other off. Well, if we put that in and prove to me that black people are violent and that they're going to take over, and I can open up the New York Daily News and show you white people who are killing their daughters, their husbands, their wives, their children, killing each other off. Well, if we put that in the paper and make it black and white, which is where the whole thing happens. It's in the paper. If a black man does something, it says, John Jones blacklist said black, 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 and did the black, black. Now, if a white man does it, it isn't white man Jones. It's just a man. Nondescript, just a regular old raggedy man went out, killed his two daughters and his wife, and shot himself. Now, if he does that, then everybody seems to just either sympathize with it or let it go out the window. But if a black man does it, then any white bigot can point his finger and say, see that? There they go again. Well, that isn't right. You tell me.
Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
As the case against Bryan Kohberger comes to an abrupt close,
I understand the state and the defense have reached a plea agreement in this case.
let's go back to when it all started, to a crime scene that shocked the country.
911 location of your emergency. Something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
Inside that home, 4 University of Idaho students, Ethan Chapin, Zana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez, were brutally stabbed to death on November 13th, 2022.
One of the roommates is passed out, and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up. Okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
4 days later, an autopsy showed the students were sleeping when they were attacked. Less than a month later, police said a white Hyundai Elantra had been seen near the scene of the crimes, and police would later find out that white Hyundai Elantra had been registered to a PhD student in criminology. It wasn't long before that student became a person of interest and then a suspect.
Detectives arrested 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania.
After a tight-lipped investigation, an arrest, Bryan Kohberger apprehended some 2,500 miles away in Pennsylvania. Police saying Kohberger's dad flew to Washington State to meet his son and made the cross-country road trip back to Pennsylvania with him in the days after the killings in a white Hyundai Elantra like the one they were looking for. During the cross-country road trip, Indiana police pulling them over twice in a matter of minutes for tailgating. Then came the arrest, Kohberger charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary. Days later, his lawyer at the time saying Kohberger thought he'd be exonerated.
He believes he's going to be exonerated.
Hey, Brian, what are you doing?
Cuffed and in an orange jumpsuit, Bryan Kohberger was escorted into a packed Pennsylvania courtroom, choosing not to fight extradition. Back in Idaho, at his first court appearance in January of 2023, the judge reading the charges.
The maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is death and or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Court documents started to shed light on key details about the killings. Perhaps the most chilling revelation, one of the 2 surviving roommates told police she came face to face with the killer. Waking up around 4 a.m., she said she heard one of the roommates say there's someone here, but didn't see anyone when she looked herself. She later heard crying coming from the victims' rooms and a man saying something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." She opened her door to see a man dressed in black and wearing a mask who walked towards her and out a back door as she stood frozen in shock and then locked herself in her room. Investigators later discovering the suspect's DNA on the snap of a knife sheath left laying next to one of the victims' bodies. That DNA was a perfect match to Kohberger. Officials also saying Kohberger's phone records placed him near the house of the 4 victims on at least 12 occasions prior to the killings, most in the late evenings or early morning hours. The night of the killings, his cell phone did not register on any of the towers located next to the house, leading investigators to think he turned off the phone sometime between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the same time as the murders. Now, after 2+ years of preliminary hearings and delays, as both sides were getting ready for a trial next month, came a shocking plea deal, and today, an admission of guilt.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
But the question of why, a motive, or where the murder weapon is today still remain unanswered.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app.
Yeah, so you're going to tell me that P. Diddy case and trial is more important than a man that drove across state lines, broke into a dormitory house, and stabbed 4 children, 4 teenagers, 4 young adults in their sleep, and then drove back home, called his father, met up with his father, and then drove back home? But you're telling me Puff Daddy and his sexual activities that he liked, the things that he liked sexually, is more important than this outright cold killer right here? You gotta be kidding me. My people are so brainwashed to it's ridiculous. Do you know how hard it is for all complex cell organisms, more importantly the male, to suppress those violent characteristics that he wants to display? You know how hard it is for them to suppress it? When you share 96 to 98% of your DNA with a violent, cannibalistic, sexual deviant species, you will display those characteristics. We can sit here as the golden race, the organic people, and make up excuses and reasonings on why it would be considered hate to tell our children the truth and to separate ourselves from them, to keep our children from consciously and physically away from them so that way they can be safe. You can look at that as hate all you want, but it's going to get worse. The universe is going to reveal to you your impotent ability to recognize your true enemy versus the people or the programs they want you to believe that is your enemy. Abundance and gratitude to you all.